Yo, what is up, guys? If you guys know me, you know that I hate this dungeon. This dungeon mechanics, it's annoying, but I finally found a team that's super legit, and that's not per se this team, but I'm gonna show you some few iterations I went through with testing teams and getting to a better team. So this is not my final team. So if you want to watch my final team, you got it. This team also is the most easiest to run. So this team is actually like the from the teams that I'm gonna show. This is the easiest to run. Maybe the next one is easier actually. And then I'm gonna show the one that I'm using, which is a bit faster, but it's a bit less safe, and you need better runes for that. So, so let's get into the dungeon itself. I use a single buff blocker, and that's Ling Ling. Ling Ling is really good. Her S3 is a multi-hit buff blocker, and will always target the unit you're targeting with at least one hit. So therefore, you always have the chance to land the buff block. It also lands a slow, which is pretty nice. It is multi-hit, so it has a chance to hit multiple times on the main boss. Her S2 also strips and buff blocks, but that is just one turn. And with like the whole team and so many team ups, and actually the AI of Ling Ling is pretty decent. Like it's pretty decent. You can get away with just using one buff blocker, and with Peng, the buff block of one turn is extended, and therefore it helps a lot. Loren helps to push back the boss, and therefore you just get like you don't get hit by the boss that much, which helps out pretty much. And the Raoqs are just there for team ups. Team ups help for more pushback, more chance of strip because Ling Ling can S1 into S2 with a 30% chance, and more like increase of the all of the debuffs. So overall, this team works out pretty well. They do quite a lot of damage. After this run, I'm gonna show the skills of Ling Ling if you haven't seen that yet. I'm gonna go over the runes, and then I'm gonna go to the next team. The next team is very similar to this, but it just changes one thing. As you can see, the Ling Ling has pretty okay AI, but also if she would not get her skill 3 off in the first turn, there's gonna be enough team ups that she has her third skill for sure, and there's a big chance like a team up would happen with skill 1 into skill 2. So for that reason, and we're getting like 39 seconds. Last one was like 48 seconds. Let's do one more. As you can see, I have double will rune on Ling Ling. Ling Ling is pretty much I didn't build her on any damage. She's just there to have like just the buff block. That's the only thing I really care about. Yes, you could add some more damage on her, but for the next team, like my final team, I cannot do that, and I'll show you later why. And that's a really big thing, which switching out some units and what happens then, and how do you have to like compromise that, but also or like not compromise, how do you have to like overcome that, and then with that you can actually do it. And as you see, like Ling Ling, she has a pretty okay what's it called, AI. The only issue is she's not max skilled yet. It doesn't like increase her effective rate, but it does increase her cooldown if you have max skills. So max skills on the third skill and the second skill is really beneficial. I don't have that yet, but so far it's not actually been necessary. So let's go over the runes. So my Loren, well, let's go for like turn order wise. So Ling Ling moves. Oh no, wait, Ling Ling doesn't move first, huh? Loren moves first in this team. Loren moves first, triple fight. It's just a whatever build with high Eki, and I use this in a bunch of dungeons. Like it's used in Giants, and you're pretty much just Giants at the moment. So Giants and SF. Then we have by turn order. Then we have Ling Ling. Is quite a lot of HP and defense, and I'll show you later why that's necessary. And it's fight with double will. Double will helps it that if the boss, if you don't get a buff block in the first turn, you can get it in the second turn without getting stunned. You could also throw violent on it. I had violent buff blockers before that also kind of works, but double will also pretty much works. You don't need that much stats as this one has for the team I'm showing right now. Also not for the next team, but for the last team you do need it. Then my Raoq, it's the same two Raoqs as from PC10, the video from yesterday. If you haven't checked it, it's in the description down below. Really good video as well. Super fast team. Double Raoq is really good. I did max skill my Raoq, like compared to the video of yesterday, because I had 20 devil monsters. Like, why the fuck not? So yeah, same, just a lot of damage. Adding in like artifacts for like extra additional damage for like attacking together, that helps out a lot. Also, what one of the people mentioned in the comments, if you want to have artifacts and you have multiple Raoqs in your team, having skill 1 crit damage artifacts is really beneficial on a Raoq, of course. So that helps out a lot. Also, like a damage from attacking together is also like an insane damage increase. I think damage from attacking together is a bigger increase than crit damage, but that's what I think. Haven't really tested that. So yeah, there's a lot of that on it. And then we have the Pang, which is the same Pang. So this team actually has an overlap of 3 units, which is pretty nice. So like you have 3 units for PC, and you can switch those 3 units to SF as well. So that's pretty nice. Another option, which like this team averages about like 45-46 seconds. I'm not really sure what the fastest run was again. Another option is this team. This team runs pretty much as good. It's a little bit faster. It's like 43-44 seconds average. And both of these teams are like 99.5% win rate so far, because the thing is, like, because of the pushback from Loren, the boss never really gets a turn, so he never really gets to hit that much. Buff block will eventually happen. Like, the only thing is if Ling Ling gets 3 turns by herself and still didn't use any buff blocker, the skill then it might fail, and that doesn't happen too often, like even with like all of the teammates possibilities to actually like that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's like, and with the Crow has more potential to skill 3 and just kill the whole boss. There's quite some debuffs on it, so Crow can actually hit quite hard in this setup. And this team, I would recommend you to build this team. This team is probably the easier to build and really fast, really consistent team. Again, like what I said in PC as well, all of these dungeons, all B12s, all new B10s, they shine best by rune quality. So yes, I probably have some better rune quality than you have. That can be a possibility. Don't be discouraged by it that much. It's just gonna make your run slower. Just make sure that it's safe enough. If you want to take this team and make it even more safe, you could switch Pang for a Fran. If you switch Pang for Fran, then the team will pretty much be like near 100% runs. It's gonna be quite some slower, but it is a way to make this team like 100% or near 100%, even with like a lot lower rune requirements. You could also opt to add in more will runes if you like, but personally, I'm not that much a big fan of will runes. So as you see, like Ling Ling did her S3, things weren't stripped yet. Then she goes in with an S2 from a team up, and things are actually stripped. Also with Pang also strips buffs, so it really helps out. And this team is all around pretty good. Okay, so to show my Crow is the same Crow as from PC10. So again, it's an overlap with 3 units, which is pretty nice. And yeah, it's exactly the same Crow. I didn't switch anything. Crit rate is a bit low for this dungeon because I'm not running a crit rate lead, and he's not getting crit rate from hitting the correct element, which is a bit bad for the Crow. You could opt to use Pang lead instead of Loren lead, which is an option, but then I overdo it for my Raoq. Actually, I think for consistency, it's probably better to have Pang lead here, because Raoq doesn't benefit that much from it, but Pang and Crow will benefit from it quite a lot, bringing up Pang to 100% crit rate and Crow to, I think, 89. So that would probably benefit more than like 18 attack lead from Loren. However, as you see, like this team, it can take like quite a while for like the wave stages. Like the boss stages, they go pretty well. Wave stages, they're pretty slow. Okay, so here we had a skill. See, that's it happens quite often. Like you don't get a buff block in her own turn. She goes with a team up, which is a good possibility. And then also if like there's a whole rotation and she didn't do it in the next turn, she does it, and then it's still like fine. Okay, let's go for my actual team. And so what can you replace in this team? Oh, whoops. Apparently we're not going in this team. I pressed replay. It's the habit of pressing replay. All day, every day, like a zombie, like a zombie. Okay, let's fast forward this one.
I am not somebody you can put inside a box, and I'm not somebody who will let you take my spot. It's written on my face, I'm somebody who never stops.
And with that, Ling Ling is a must in this team. I think there's no better buff blocker than Ling Ling at the moment, so... Okay, so looking at this team, what can you replace and how can you replace it? You're kind of like opting to replace maybe Loren, but if you would, let's say, do this and then you add in a second Raoq, this team is pretty wonky. This team is pretty wonky because you don't push back the boss that much, and because you don't push back the boss that much, he's gonna take turns and his skills actually do a lot of damage. Because if there's no buff blockers, he goes for the crit rate and the attack buff, and he just like slaps a unit really, really bad. An option is, what I noticed, is going for this girl. And it's been quite a while since we used her like effectively, but with this, Mahua it's just 61 crit rate plus 19 plus 15, so that's something, it's close to 100. And this team is actually pretty legit. Thing is, what you do need here is it still does happen that the boss gets a turn. If he goes, then he can go for his AoE attack or single target attack. If he goes for single target attack and it goes on Ling Ling and she doesn't survive, your run instantly fails. So to have this run consistent, and that's why this one is so much more difficult to run than the previous one, because Loren is that much more consistent of an attack bar reducer, you need to have a lot of stats on Ling Ling for survivability. And her base is only like 1800 HP, so I have artifacts of HP, and this one is not HP, but it's reduced damage from wind by 13%, which is pretty good. Also increased damage by 7%, which helps out quite a lot. So in this case, I also have defense, crit damage, HP. So in this case, you do need a lot and a lot of like tankiness. And let's see, this is the team I'm running currently. It has a little bit lower win rate, but it's averages like 38 seconds. So it's about like 4 seconds faster than the previous team. So it's just up to you whether you think like it's worth it. But this team is insanely smooth. Like it's 37, 38 seconds consistently. And it's just, it does so much damage. Wait, somehow there's a delay between my screen and the actual screen. What's happening? Oh well, doesn't matter that much. As you can see, this run is insanely fast, insanely smooth, and things just die. Things legit just die. This is also the run that got 30 no wait, this run actually didn't get the 30-second one. The 30-second one is a little change to this one, but I don't really recommend that one, as it's a little bit less consistent than this team. But it's still a pretty niche like solution if you want to test out some things for yourself. But I'm gonna say, like, because you get rid of the reduce attack bar, your team is gonna be likely to fail more. But yeah, pull your Hua out of storage if you have the rune quality to do this. Also check what's going wrong in your run. If you see Ling Ling die, like, let's see, okay, we didn't get a skill 2 or skill 3 from her here. Let's see what happens. Okay, no one does anything, no one does anything. It's still fine. Boss takes a turn. He goes for, okay, second one's filled. Let's see if we can still do that now. I think this is gonna be an issue right now. Okay, so this is where you fill. So if she doesn't go for it twice and there's 0 team-ups with her, you actually do fill. Does it happen a lot? No, not that much. Not that much, actually. How to make this more consistent? Just go for the previous team I showed with the Loren. It is more consistent because there's that much more pushback, and therefore there's just he gets more buffs when he gets a turn. So if he never gets a turn, he doesn't get that many buffs. So the well, he doesn't do damage because he doesn't get like a buff, or he doesn't get a turn. But also he deals less damage on like the Thunder Strike because he has less buffs. So, and he doesn't have an attack buff, which also increases the damage by a lot, of course. So this is just a niche team. If you can make it, check it out. Still, this is like 98. Yeah, I think it's about like 98, maybe 97 success rate. But it's a lot more difficult to run, so I do recommend to go for the other one. Also, you don't have anyone that's prolonging buffs here, so if you would miss like if you just get a 1-turn buff block and this team, then you kind of need like a second hit on that as well. Like you kind of still need like a second turn buff blocker as well, which is, yeah, it's not always optimal. Whereas with Pang moves after, Pang makes the 1-turn into a 2-turn, and it's just more consistent. So what am I gonna run in the end? I'm probably gonna run the Loren one because I don't really like runs that fail too often. Let's say you don't have a Loren, like a second Loren around, because maybe you have a Guild War Loren and you have like a BG5 Loren, and then you're like, oh, I cannot, like I don't want to make another Loren. This is an option for you then to not have to make another Loren. Probably you also have like another Loren for like B12 of Giants, but yep, if you just want a really fast team, then this is an option. Sure, there's like fastest teams out there with like Lucian and stuff, but they're not consistent. So also the big single target laser is survivable by Ling Ling in her current build. So that's something I aimed for with the Ling Ling build that she has right now. And that's her main reason why she doesn't do that much damage. If you would go for the Loren with Pang one, you could opt to lower the defense and the HP of Ling Ling, because it's very less likely that she will actually get hit by the single target hit, because the single target hit in this situation is gonna hit on one of two units because they're not fire, which is Crow or Ling Ling. So it's a 50-50 on top of a 50-50 if he actually uses second skill or third, or like his first skill or second skill, so the single target or the AoE. And yeah, that's about as far as it goes for like RNG. But as you can see, like we had one fail, but this team is still very, very consistent. So I like, if you haven't yet, make a Ling Ling. Ling Ling is free to play. Ling Ling, you can actually get a Ling Ling from fusing. You do not need skill ups from Ling Ling where she at. Oof, you can get her here. You do not need skill ups on her at all. Like my skill ups is like just in the first skill, second skill, like nothing is effective, right? And that's the good thing. Like it's just cooltime, and so you want this cooltime and you want that cooltime, yes, definitely, but it's not a must. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Another double Raoq team, while technically the other team with Loren and Crow Raoq is, I would say, easy to run, and I do recommend to run that, even though I like this team more because it's just cooler. But yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, please consider subscribing and liking this video. I still have about like around like 71% of the people watching these videos who are not subscribed. If you're one of those, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, because that's bring my video to like more people by the YouTube algorithm, and therefore I get more views, I get more motivated to make more videos, and blah 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 blah. Snowball effect. And yeah, that sound effects will be included in future videos too, probably, maybe, something. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.